What's up, guys? Dom here with Restricted America. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Obviously, there's been a lot of political stuff going on this week, especially the presidential election, which, of course, we'll be doing a video about that. And, of course, Donald Trump did win the presidential election. I personally think this is a good thing for gun rights. You can have your own opinions on that, but I'm going to stick to my guns and say that Trump was definitely the best pick out of all the options, the real options. So with that being said, a lot of like the state gun news and stuff like that has been, kind of shoved under the rug. But some big news out of Illinois came out, and it is great news, actually. And it basically was that a federal judge ruled the Illinois assault weapons ban unconstitutional, as well as the magazine capacity ban. So what we're going to do is, of course, we're going to read an article. This is by the Chicago Sun-Times, and they do have a bit of a left-wing bias, of course, and I always try to say that before I read these articles, which, most of these publications do have a left-wing bias and kind of an anti-gun, a natural anti-gun bias. But this one is not terribly skewed to one side, so I am going to read the whole thing. So this is by John Seidel and Mawa Iqbal, WBEZ. A federal judge downstate found Illinois' controversial assault weapons ban unconstitutional Friday, calling AR-15s I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Rorschach test of America's gun debate, but concluding that fundamental rights do not subsist subject to the whims of government officials or judges. The ruling from U.S. District Court, U.S. District Judge Stephen P. McGlynn follows a recent trial in East St. Louis over the merits of the law, which was inspired by the deadly 2022 shooting during Highland Park's 4th of July parade. It left 7 people dead. McGlynn's ruling, which is not going to affect for 30 days, is not surprising. He found last year that the gun law not only restricts the right to defend oneself, but in some cases completely obliterated that right. That 2023 ruling, which also briefly stopped enforcement of the law, was blocked in a matter of days by the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. So obviously the 7th Circuit is what covers Illinois and Chicago. Attorney General Kwame Raoul's office confirmed Friday it plans to appeal this latest ruling. Kwame Raoul is the Attorney General of Illinois, and he works with, obviously, J.B. Pritzker, which is the governor of Illinois. A spokesman for Governor J.B. Pritzker added that despite those who value weapons of war more than public safety, this law was enacted to and has protected Illinoisans. The governor is confident the constitutionality of the Protect Illinois Communities Act will be upheld. The Protect Illinois Communities Act is obviously the law that this is all about. The litigation over Illinois' assault weapons ban is viewed as likely to reach as high as the U.S. Supreme Court. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in July that if the Seventh Circuit ultimately allows Illinois to ban America's most common civilian rifle, we can and should review that decision once the cases reach a final judgment. Gun rights advocates quickly celebrated McGlynn's ruling. The Second Amendment Foundation called it a huge victory and a big defeat for the gun prohibition lobby and their bought and paid for politicians. Eric Pratt, Senior Vice President of Gun Owners of America, said in a statement that this week just keeps getting better for gun owners and worse for anti-gunners like J.B. Pritzker. He warned them to fall in line, but instead they choose to do the opposite. McGlynn opened his 168-page ruling by asking, "Why do we protect ourselves with firearms? Who comes to our aid in times of peril?" He wrote, "Sometimes it is the police or first responders, other times it is healthcare professionals, and sometimes it is family, friends, or neighbors. Sometimes it is no one." The judge then pointed to the rabbit and duck illusion and included the image in his ruling. He wrote that the image distinguishes perception from interpretation. If you see only a duck, your interpretation of the data is too narrow. And the AR-15 is the Rorschach test of America's gun debate, he wrote. In listening to the political debate and in reading various judicial interpretations of what the AR-15 represents, it is obvious that many are seeing very different creatures. Federal judges in Chicago and elsewhere have indeed struggled with recent Supreme Court rulings over the nation's gun laws ever since a 2022 case known as New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruen held that gun regulations must be consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. The court clarified its thinking somewhat in a case this summer known as United States versus Rahimi, saying that these precedents were not meant to suggest a law trapped in amber. Obviously, that last portion is the kind of left-wing bias showing its true colors. But yeah, this is great news. Obviously, they're already going to file an appeal, which is why that 30-day stay is on it. So, Illinoisans are not going to be able to go buy rifles and, 30-round magazines right away. This is going to have to be decided by the 7th Circuit of Appeals, and hopefully, they give a quick decision on that so that can go right to the Supreme Court. And, of course, hopefully Clarence Thomas, we still have him, and he doesn't, retire by that point, because he is obviously the best person to probably write the majority opinion on that kind of case. Yeah, we'll talk more about the Supreme Court justice picks that are going to be happening and all of that stuff in future videos. But guys, this is what I have for you today. Great news out of Illinois. I think we're finally starting to turn the tide on anti-gun decisions, and we're going to actually start winning for real. So guys, if you enjoy these types of videos, please give it a like, leave a comment, and if you're not subscribed, make sure to do that now. Other than that, stay informed and stay unrestricted.